as we always do. Keith Smith in the house. If you want to join us in the discussion, you know how to do this. Give the show a like and a share first, and then offer your perspective live on air on the I Love Seville show. I am seeing the comments already about what we shared this morning on the Charlottesville Police Department. That is a topic for another show. So if you'd like those topics covered, we can answer it on our 12:30 show. This show is more real estate centric.
Well, we'll talk whatever the viewers want to talk about. I'm telling you, I've got like a serious case of spring fever. It is just a great day to be alive.
It is.
I was walking on over here from parking, thinking about, I mean, man, how good can it get? It is freaking awesome outside, and I'm about ready to go do however long you let me do it, a little Friday Batman and Robin. Don't have a lot of topics for today. Maybe want to tackle a little bit of new construction and a lot that's going to come on the market from our rock star friend, Maggie Gunnels. I was talking to her this morning, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But man, dump something in the feed. Let's have fun today. I'm looking forward to it.
We'll go to about 11:30 today, guys, on the Friday edition of Real Talk.
I better slow down the coffee intake then.
We will have some fun. We will absolutely have some fun. Judah Wickauer, things are looking good. Folks, give the show a like and a share wherever you are watching. And yes, I did share that content to bring some awareness to something that was important to me. Judah Wickauer, we can rock and roll when you are ready, sir. Guys, good Friday morning. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk, an insider's guide to real estate life and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you kindly for joining us. We are live across Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world, right here on the I Love Seville network, and we are presented by Yes Realty Partners. So much to cover on the program, guys. Very excited for the Friday edition of the show on a day undoubtedly that is gorgeous outside. We give some love to Keller Williams for being a part of today's show, as we always do. And we thank the best of the real estate supply chain, which you see on screen. Support the brands and businesses that make this show possible because they are trusted and can be counted upon. Judah Wickauer is our director. Let's go to that two-shot. Let's welcome Keith Smith to the program. Keith Smith, good Friday morning.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
I'm looking forward to this. What a beautiful day outside. And like I said on the hot mic intro, I can't think of a better way to do it is to hang out with you and our viewers and just have a lot of fun. It always amazes me how our viewers and our listeners just take this show to another level. So I'm excited about it. I'm just going to do a little kickoff,
please,
just from a real estate perspective, and we'll see where the feed takes us. If you can tag Maggie Gunnels, I'd appreciate it.
We certainly will.
I had a conversation with Maggie Gunnels. I got a client looking to build new construction in Lake Monticello, and I've kind of reached out and said, hey, do you have anything coming up? And I told her I'd showcase her a lot that's about ready to hit the market. Maybe that's not in my best interest, but I think tomorrow there's going to be a pretty awesome lot that's coming on the market for about $49,900, right on
$49,500.
Yeah, 900, I believe.
That's affordable.
Let's call it 50,000.
That's affordable.
Yeah. So it's in a perfect spot. It's right next to the Turkey Sag Gate, and to me it's priced right. We've had this conversation a little bit on Friday, what the formula kind of looks like. So it's typically 6-to-1, 7-to-1. So that's somewhere between a $300,000 and $350,000 house and lot package, which is right at the sweet spot of the market out there.
So $50K for a Lake Monticello lot.
Let's think about what it gets you.
You normally take the cost of the lot and times it by 5 or 6.
So historically it's been 5.
So that means the home would have an asking price
Roughly 300.
Roughly 300?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's 6 times 50, 300K?
Yeah. So in today's market, in today's material costs, you're probably closer to the 6 to 7 multiplier. And I don't want to kind of geek out on that, but generally that's how that works. If you take a look at a home in a new construction market that's being sold for 350, the developer or the builder's probably paying $50,000, $60,000 for the lot. That formula has kind of been in place since the beginning of dirt, or at least 35 years since I've been doing it. So, but it's really, from a lot value perspective, it's pretty awesome. I know the lot well. I walked it actually yesterday. Flat. It backs up against Food Lion area. Actually backs up against a subdivision within Lake Monticello called the Acres, which I developed, which has $400,000 to $500,000 houses. So it's in an area that supports that kind of price point. Easy in, easy out. Water, sewer. It's got fiber, internet to it. She's gonna, she's going to do well. She's a rock star, and that lot's is going to move pretty quickly.
So multiple questions immediately coming to my mind, and then we'll get to some of the comments that are coming in. If it's 5 to 6 times the multiple of the dirt, and these pieces of property in the city of Charlottesville, like the unfinished one that's 650 square feet, that has an asking price of $299,000.
Yeah.
That means you're telling me a $1.5 to $1.8 million house needs to be constructed there?
So there's different. You have to hedge that formula a little bit.
Okay.
That area is probably closer to 4 to 5 to 1.
Okay.
But that's generally the rule of thumb.
So $1 million home if you knock down that house.
Yeah, well, let's look at it this way.
That's Palatine Avenue.
Yeah. Well, let's just not talk about that. Let's just talk about a parcel in the city of Charlottesville. Just to build something nowadays, you're starting off at $300 a square foot. That's just, entry level. I can't believe I'm even saying that. I remember, just to put it in perspective, when I started building in 1987, would you want to take a gander on what the going square footage price was?
I would have no idea.
$50.
Okay. So now we're 6 times that.
We're at least 6 times that. 6 times that. And I remember when I was starting, $50 to $60 a square foot was high back in the Stone Ages when I was doing it.
In the 80s, okay.
Yeah. So so just do a little bit of math, right? You can, and this is quick formula kind of stuff. But if you're going to build, and you're a lot smarter than I am, I don't have to get my calculator out to break it out. But if you do a $300 square foot to $350, that's kind of the range right now on a 2,200, 2,400 square foot house, and add that lot price, whatever that math comes out with, that's pretty much where it's at this particular point in time.
John Blair, what's up, good buddy?
Oh, John.
Love when you watch the program, JB, over on LinkedIn. Man, that is something, dude. You're looking at Palatine in general.
That's why this. I prefer not to use the word upzoning, but let's just use it because that's the term du jour.
Yeah, well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I
disagree. Well, we can argue.
As Neil Williamson has said, that's what it is.
Yeah, well, Neil's a genius, but sometimes anyway, I don't want to get involved in that because I'm probably going to lose more facial hair.
You're going to shave that mustache?
Shave that mustache. And I have a story about that. I bumped into Juan Diego the other day, and we were having a conversation. I was like, please, June 2nd, 2023. He said, nope. And I went, damn, I guess I'm shaving the mustache off, which is good. I will be more than happy to shave it off live if it really happens by June 1, 2023. But that's why this upzoning or this rezoning or this zoning text amendment or the FLUM is so important from a cost perspective, because that $300,000, let's just call that the number, now gets divided by 4.
Okay.
That brings it down to 50,000.
So you're saying the 0.14 piece of dirt in the city of Charlottesville.
It depends, Jerry, on, and that's why this next step is so important. It depends.
A 0.14 piece of dirt in the city of Charlottesville, just the dirt. We're now at an asking price of $300,000 just for the dirt.
So I haven't had a chance to do a research because I just was focusing on Lake Monticello because I've got to deal with working with a client this afternoon about this particular thing. So that was my focus this morning. But I have sold lots in Charlottesville over the last 2 years between the 150 mark and up. That's not an uncommon number if you can find a lot in in the city of Charlottesville.
Yeah, 150K for a city of Charlottesville. That's reasonable. I totally get that.
It's a big difference between that and 3.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, and most folks are thinking here, and I'll tell you that I chair a nonprofit, right? We are looking at opportunities to buy and hold for future, taking a bet, for lack of a better term, on what the actual zoning ordinance is going to end up at. But the details matter, Jerry and folks. They matter. So you're thinking, okay, I've got this 1/4 of an acre lot or this 1/8 of an acre lot or whatever the size of it is.
Yeah.
How can I fit 4 units on there? Great question. So you're probably going up. You're probably doing an ADU or the dwelling unit in the back. But how they set up the actual new text to the zoning ordinances. That's why they potentially could do what's called a zoning text amendment. Leave the zoning alone, right? Don't come up with a new zoning classification, but they can change the requirements in it. So they can say, okay, you could do 2/2s, you could do 3/1s, which is 3-story, 3 separate units. So there's your 3 with a small ADU in the backyard, change setbacks, so forth and so on.
Good morning, Lee Elberson on LinkedIn. We love when you watch the program.
So the point is the bet is
people are astonished right here about $300,000 for an eighth of an acre in the city of Charlottesville, and in particular, Palatine Avenue is not north downtown.
No, it's not. No,
Palatine.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to get into the value on that one way or the other on that end of it, but there may be somebody who thinks it is, and there may be somebody who purchases that wants to sit on it. I've actually walked that. My number, about $300,000 to bring that up to speed, is about right.
The current
If
structure.
you want to bring the current structure up to speed, you're probably spending about $300,000.
Good night. And the asking price is $300,000,
Correct.
essentially.
Yeah, so you're looking at $600,000.
You're looking at 6 bills just to get 652 square feet
Yeah,
up to
well, that
speed.
$300,000 has budgeted in there some expansion, right? Growing a little bit in the back, maybe going up or something like that, turning that into double the footprint that you have at the moment.
So what's your prediction, your crystal ball on what's going to happen with that now that you've walked it?
Yeah, it's hard to tell in this particular market. I think somebody's going to buy it. At what price point we won't know until it closes, but
Sure.
But somebody's going to buy it, and it could be an investor, it could be somebody that wants to do what Scott was talking about, which was great stuff on Wednesday about some of his loan products that are new and out there that they can actually renovate it. The struggle is finding the builder and so forth and so on to go ahead and do it. But there's paths out there to go ahead and do it.
Interesting. All right, let's get to Maggie Gunnels. Kevin Yancey, good morning from Waynesboro, the king of Waynesboro. We love when you watch the program. Kevin Yancey, you shared some good listings on the Wednesday edition of the show that got us talking, my friend. Keep the commentary coming, Kevin Yancey in Waynesboro. So let's go Maggie Gunnels, the fabulous Maggie Gunnels. $50,000 lot in Lake Monticello. It really puts things in perspective. A lot of people talk about burning the gas, the time, the wear and tear in the vehicle, commuting from Lake Monticello to the city of Charlottesville. But boys and girls, the distinguished gentleman just identified, you can get what size lot in Lake Monticello?
Oh, it's a 1/3 of an acre.
A 1/3 of an acre.
It's actually over. It's
0.4?
No, 0.35 or 3.6. It's just a tad over a 1/3 of an acre.
0.36 in Lake Monticello, just the dirt.
100-foot road frontage, 150 deep. So it's roughly a 1/3 of an acre.
So for $50K.
$50K, yeah.
And you're going to say that's going to sell all day, every day.
Yeah, that'll eventually will sell. That'll sell because so this is on Bridlewood. So I just pulled what's sold on Bridlewood. This is not new construction. This is a street in Lake Monticello, which is by the Food Lion out there. So it's easy to 53, easy off. Some of the, at Lake Monticello, sometimes it takes you 10 minutes to get from an intersect part of Lake Monticello to a gate, you know, the average sales price on that street in the last 12 months, there was 4 sales, was right at $300,000. So that math kind of works at this point, right? The math kind of works, you know, 6, you know, 5, 6, 7 times 1. It depends on the house and what you're putting in it, but you're right at market on that end of it. And new construction will
Justify it.
Well, new construction will get more money. You can actually get more for new construction
Absolutely.
than some of the homes that were built, you know, 10 or 15 or 20 years ago on that end of it. So, you know, it's a great location. It's a great thing. I'll tell you, I get asked probably 15 times a week, can you build me a house? And, you know, I'm not there anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. But I'll tell you what, I'd do a spec house there all day long. I would absolutely.
Your wife is watching.
I know that.
Yona.
I know. No, honey. It's okay, honey. Hey, happy spring, honey.
Comments are coming in fast and furious.
I would
Lee,
do a spec all day long. Now.
Lee, we're going to get to your comment here in a matter of moments. Lee Elberson on LinkedIn. We'll get to the comments that are coming in on Spotify here. $300,000 for dirt in the city of Charlottesville. $50,000 for dirt in Lake Monticello, 20 minutes away. You're looking at a savings of $250,000 just on the dirt alone. That is a lot of gas tanks, you would say.
So it has historically, and I did not dig into this for now, but historically, when you take that ride on 53 and you come past the Savannah County line to go to the Albemarle County line, you usually jump $100,000 to $150,000 in value. That's been that way for forever. It's probably a little more than that at the moment.
What direction is that?
So you know, if you come out of this entrance of Food Lion on Route 53, right? That's where this lot is. That's right next to it. And you start driving Route 53, you actually go from Savannah into Albemarle County. And it's historically been about $100,000 to $150,000 jump. What you can buy in Savannah versus what you and that's just a real general term. You go west in Albemarle, it's way higher than that. You know, you go to Schuyler, it's a little bit different. But as a rule of thumb, you're jumping about $100,000, right? But where you were going is where I was running some math on gas, right? So if I'm doing a $350,000 new construction, get everything I want in a gated community, golf course, lake, I got Food Lion and all this stuff, and I'm building a 2,500, 2,200 square foot house, whatever, for $350, just picking numbers, what that's going to cost you in the city is at least double that, right?
You're talking 7 bills.
Yeah, and you won't get the same amenities, right? It's this. If I was going to build a spec home on that, it'd be a single level, 2-car garage, 3 bedrooms, that kind of thing, which has a super appeal to the market on both sides, the empty nesters and the millennial buyer on that end of it. But you know, I'm saving $300,000.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a hell of a lot of savings.
That's a lot of gas.
Yeah.
You can, so, you know, even though we're at 4+ bucks per gallon, it's, one needs to take a look at the math. And it's literally, this is the client that I'm working with that's looking for this out there. They are actually a millennial buyer, and they're actually, you know, that we've had this discussion about the math, and you know, we're leaning this way.
The governor, Glenn Youngkin, proposing a suspension of the gas tax in the Commonwealth for 3 months.
I saw that.
I think that's a smart move. Jason
That's roughly
Howard,
26 cents, right?
26, 27 cents.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
I can look that up. Lee Elberson, this is for you, the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, and all-around great guy.
And a hell of a poker player.
We talk about that, a hell of a poker player. A man who's living the vegan lifestyle, training for a triathlon.
Ooh.
Has an affinity for some high top shelf brown liquor. Great squash player.
Way to go, Marine.
Very likable guy. Lee Elberson has this comment on LinkedIn. I read an article yesterday talking about the most expensive places to live. San Francisco was at the top of the list with the median housing salary ratio of 8. Want to guess where Charlottesville is right now on that list?
Oh, it's going to be high. Most folks do may know this, but Charlottesville region is the second highest cost of living in the state of Virginia, next to
Northern
Arlington
Virginia.
and that kind of thing. Within the top 25, which is just purely a guess.
Lee Elberson, do us the favor. Send us the, is this the USA Today article? If it's the USA Today article, let us know. But if you could, put the article in the feed so we can read it and mention some of these talking points on the program. Where does Charlottesville stack up on that list? San Francisco clearly number one. Let's get to, as we wait for Lee to put that in the comment feed, let's get to Daniel McDougall. D-Mac, we love you, D-Mac. Daniel McDougall, seriously, thank you for participating in these shows.
Makes
he
us
says,
better.
What's that?
Makes us better, man.
He says,
Makes me
this
better
is
anyway.
exactly why we built in Troy.
Yeah.
We saved about $250,000 based on what Keith said.
Yeah. So my 300 was close, but 250 to 300. It depends on when he built. If he built a few years ago, that's probably making up that $50,000. But that.
Moved from Forest Lakes to Glenmore, now in Troy with a custom build, D-Mac and his family.
So I bet you his travel time from Forest Lakes to work is almost the same as from Troy to work. If he can answer that question, that'd be great. But I bet you his windshield time, not in miles, but in actual time, is probably comparable.
I don't want to speak for D-Mac, but he has said in previous shows that he's in the mortgage business. The virtual aspect of what he's able to do allows him to service clients anywhere.
Got it.
So I think his commute is darn near close to non-existent now.
Yeah.
His commute may be from the second floor to the first floor office.
To the first floor or kitchen table.
Yeah. He says working from home on fiber optics.
Oh,
that's what he just said.
He's in Troy, man. That's it. So go back to this lot, right? So this lot is at $50,000, has central water and sewer to it, right? And it has fiber to it because I've checked it out, right? So Firefly is literally to the lot on that end of it. And if you forget a half a gallon of milk, it's literally an eighth of a mile from the front of the lot to the front door of Food Lion. So you can take a nice walk over to Food Lion, get your half a gallon of milk, or you can walk all the way across up to Blue 53 and get yourself a cocktail, or you can walk over to Villanova's and get yourself a pizza, or you can walk over to Sal's and get you another pizza. And if you forget some medical thing, you pass the pharmacy, Jefferson Pharmacy, and at my age, you got to constantly figure, okay, am I picking up my meds? Did I miss my meds and all that stuff? So it's a freaking awesome location for that end of it. And, if you got kids and stuff like that, it's a really awesome place to raise children. We've done it.
Check out, if you can, your Facebook Messenger. So here's the beautiful thing that's happening. And this is something that we should work into Real Talk in some capacity.
Sure.
And this could be with listings that YRP has.
Sure.
Or listings in general. Sure. People are sending us active listings now.
Yeah, sure.
And asking us to dissect them. This has come from Kevin Yancey, who's watching in Waynesboro. 137 Bookerdale Road. It's in your Facebook Messenger.
I'm looking at it.
I'm going to take this listing that Kevin Yancey just shared, and I'm going to put it in the comments section of my personal Facebook page right now. Okay? In the comments section of my personal Facebook page right now.
So his thinking is, for $215,000, you can be in Waynesboro.
He's got more. In fact, I'll read to you what he's thinking here. I'm going to share this for those that are watching on I Love Seville Facebook. Kevin Higgins, we'll get to your comment.
Looks like it's in good condition, too.
This is what he has said to me. I'm putting this on the I Love Seville group. Roger West, we'll get to your comments here in a matter of moments. Lee Elberson, let us know about the nitty-gritty of that article if you could. So we can relay it on air. And then I'm going to put this on Twitter so our Twitter following can see this as well. This is what Kevin Yancey, the king of Waynesboro, said about this listing. He knows Waynesboro inside and out.
Okay.
It's been on the market. He sent it to me yesterday at 9:19 a.m. And yesterday at 9:19 a.m. he said it's been on the market for 24 hours. Showings every 20 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
For this piece of property. Showings
it'll
every
sell.
20 minutes for the first day. What do you make of this?
Yeah.
Take a look at that listing.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it right now. It's in really. I mean, look, pictures are one thing. Walking through it is something else, right? Even though there's digital curbside, there's nothing like getting through and getting a look at it. From my perspective, it looks like it's in great shape. I haven't had a chance to look down the back end of it through my MLS system, so I can't really get into too much details on it. But, my suspicion is that'll sell higher than the 215 number. How much higher, we'll find out once it actually gets through the process. But that probably won't last past the weekend for sure.
Waynesboro, this comment's come in on one of our Facebook pages. I just put this on Twitter, across Facebook. Kevin Higgins, we get to your comments here in a matter of moments. Roger West, we will get to your comments here in a matter of moments. He says, great info from Keith Smith right there.
So excuse me to interrupt you. So I'm reading, because I'm reading the listing and just buzzing through the pictures. The comments are spot on. Just buzzing through the pictures real quickly from my perspective, all that home really needs is a fresh coat of paint and some carpet. And that's what they're talking about in the listing. It's on a half-acre lot. It's got a basement. This is not going to last past the weekend. It'll sell definitely more than the list price. But to go back to the Lake Monticello conversation, if you take that same house, and that's something, if I have my laptop in me, I can take a look at it. That same home in downtown, that same basic 3 bedrooms, 2 baths in Charlottesville is probably listing and trading for doubled, if not 3 times that amount. So that's a lot of gas.
Yeah. Kevin Higgins, is there any correlation with the future explosion of electric vehicles and home sales? Does the profile of an EV buyer impact your sales strategy as an agent?
Yes, because we've been talking about this
for about 18 months. Yeah.
About 18 months, right? So it's very interesting, and thank you for bringing that up.
King of Greenwood, Kevin Higgins.
Thank you, sir, Kevin. Thank you for bringing that up. So we talked about this 18 months because we had a bit of a, not difference of opinion, but let's say some fodder for a talk show. Historically, when gas starts getting up to $3 or $4 a gallon, Waynesboro tends to slow down in the market.
It gets a little softer.
But that is not happening now, and we kind of predicted it wouldn't happen. EV has a lot to do with it. A lot of it has to do with, the interest rates, even though they're climbing up, are still historically low, right, on the end of it. So you can buy a little bit more house per your monthly payment. I think EVs are going to be a big impact. And the reason I know that is some of the builders and developers I'm talking to that are working on that side of the hill, they're looking at putting in EV chargers, if not as an option, but as a standard thing. What can you buy a Bolt for right now?
You know that well.
About 40 grand.
That's the Chevy, is it Bolt or Volt?
B.
Okay.
A B. Volt.
Okay.
They used to have a Volt, but they stopped making that.
Okay.
This is basically a compact Chevy Bolt, B-O-L-T. It's front wheel drive. It's about as basic as you can get. It's somewhere around
40 G's.
Around 40 G's,
okay,
right, on that end of it.
Seems like a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. I think personally, if I was living on that side of the mountain and working in Charlottesville, I'd want 4-wheel drive just for the weather and all that stuff. So
is that a push for the Hummer?
Yeah.
We know you want the Hummer. The wife and I were talking about this here. Gas car and electric car in the family. If you have a 2-car family, 1 gas, 1 electric. We have 2 gas right now. We're like clear cut. The next one's going to be EV.
Yeah, we've been on that train for about a year and a half.
Is that the truck? Because the truck is the next one to replace, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So let's move on.
Okay.
Yeah. I would do a Lightning if I was really in all sincerity. I would probably get the Ford F-150.
That one's sharp.
It's sharp.
Yeah.
It's not $150,000 like the Hummer is.
How much does that run?
Probably in the 60 to 80,000 range. But hell, if you buy a tricked out truck right now, which blows my mind.
It's talking 80, 90K.
That's what you're spending anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm all in. I'm all in on it. My issue with it, frankly, it's too big for what I need it for. I'm probably going to wait for something a little bit smaller. But Yona and I, it's funny, we talked about this morning. Even before this $4 a gas environment that we're in, plus, Yona and I always drive one car in. We can do that, right?
Well, yeah, because you guys,
We organize our schedules. We're pretty good about that. And if I have showings, so we historically don't take two vehicles in unless we absolutely have to. So, for us that's easy. But my truck is staying in the driveway. By the way, we're driving Yona's Subaru, which gets a little bit better gas mileage than my truck.
Kevin says, is homeowners insurance more affordable for EV owners that have a garage?
That I don't have an answer for, but I'll tell you, he's bringing up a great concept, and something I've been working on is trying to bring back another insurance agent for April. So we can log that question and ask the folks that I'm trying to bring in on that.
Kevin is going to go with 100% electric Silverado, May-June release for the Chevy Silverado.
Yeah, so I need to research on.
That's Yancey, not Higgins.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a look at that. Thank you, Mr. Yancey. I'll take a look at that because that's probably suited more to what I need. I'm not building houses anymore, so I don't really need a pickup work truck, but I need a truck, right? Maybe I don't need a truck, but I want a truck.
You're a truck man.
I'm a truck guy.
You like trucks.
I've always been in a pickup truck, which reminds me of a story.
Oh, please tell us. I like your stories.
So which blew my mind. Let me see. I got here in 1987. Let the police pass on by.
Thank you, CPD.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, CPD.
From a guy who comes from a family of service folks, thank you for those guys. And
absolutely.
Thank you for what you're doing for them.
Yeah.
So I remember my first pickup truck I bought was in 1988. It was in January of 1980. I was here in 1987. I brought down a van, and I bought a pickup truck. And I'm fresh out of the Marine Corps, fresh out of New York, right? Haven't assimilated into the way of life down here yet. And I went to Jim Price to buy a truck. And it was a Friday afternoon, and I saw this truck, and the salesman handed me the keys and said, come back on Monday, drive it over the weekend, and tell me what you think. My initial thought was, are you nuts?
Yeah. You must have an honest face.
Why are you handing me a set of keys for a brand new vehicle?
Did he keep your license?
Yeah, but my New Yorker thinking was, I don't care.
Yeah.
Bye.
So he made a copy of your license at least.
Yeah. The point was he gave me a set of keys to a brand new pickup truck, and I drove away from the weekend on that end of it. And when I brought it back on Monday, I looked down at the salesman and I said, that was genius salesmanship.
Did you buy it?
Of course I did. There was no way I was not going to. I fell in love with the truck over the weekend.
I bet you did. That was smart.
But the New Yorker in me was like, are you nuts? But the salesman, I learned a valuable lesson from there about salesmanship. It was a pretty genius thing.
The Silverado only comes in crew cab. That's for you.
That's what I want. Yeah, and it doesn't have a huge rear bed in it, which I don't need.
Right.
If I remember correctly, it's kind of modeled after the old Avalanche.
Avalanche is great. Yeah.
So man, I'm in. I've always was. I'm probably going to get myself into trouble.
So your wife's watching?
No, not with my wife. I'm going to probably upset 50% of our listeners and our viewers.
Okay.
But I've always been a Chevy guy. I've always had Chevy trucks.
Those fighting words over there.
Fighting words.
Those are fighting words.
Yeah, never had a Ford truck. Always had a Chevy truck. But
you got a Toyota now.
I got a Toyota, man. That took me 6 months to decide to do
It's a twin, he says.
It's a twin.
He says yes to the twin. You speak truck better than I'm talking about.
Twin. You mean a 2 doors, like 4-door maybe? Twin. I've never heard that one.
Well, what are you referencing there? And he says it's like a rock. Roger, we'll get to Kevin.
What's the weight list on that?
What's the weight over there, Yancey? This is from Roger. How many square feet for the lot in Monticello, Lake Monticello?
It's a third of an acre, whatever that math.
Well, how many house can you build?
Oh, shucks. You can build. The setbacks over there are so the lot is 100-foot wide. You got 10-foot setbacks, building setbacks on the side. So whatever you can fit in the middle on that end of it, you can build 3,000-4,000 feet in there. Not that you would. I don't think the market around there would do that. I think the sweet spot, again, if I was building a speculative home over there, no, honey, I'm not going to do it. A speculative home, maybe I'm thinking about it. It would be about 2,400 square feet, 2-car garage, rancher, master bedroom on one side, living area in the middle, little screened-in porch off of the back, 2 bedrooms on the side and the bath. I built hundreds and hundreds of those over the years down there at Lake Monticello, and it would sell before it got finished. But I'm not going to do that, honey.
All right, let's get to more comments coming in. Roger says he's looking to build in Augusta or Fishersville.
Mm-hmm.
He says Waynesboro's blowing up. Avalanche, you were referencing a twin to the Avalanche. He's like, it's similar to the Avalanche.
I read something in the airport the other day about this, and the lightning. Not that I'm an expert with this at any stretch of the imagination, just because I've been looking at it. The Lightning's more of a work truck. Right, it's designed for the guy or the gal that's on the job site, because you can actually use it as a generator.
Wow.
Right, so it's got plugins in the back. So if I was building, even though I'm a Chevy guy, if I was building,
you like that?
I would probably buy that. I don't know if the Silverado has that capability, but the Silverado looks a little bit more along the lines of what I would be interested in.
Heather Lamont Walker watching the program. We love when you watch the show, Heather. Retired teacher, daughter, a current teacher. She offers insightful perspective on the show often. And she says this, Heather, sincerely, I very much respect your opinion and the stuff that you post on social media. She says you would be surprised how many teachers in the Western Albemarle feeder school system live in Waynesboro.
Sure.
Some of the neighborhoods built in the past 10 years are lovely and affordable, 100%. We routinely highlight the tree streets in Waynesboro, and frankly, those are getting to be no longer one of the best kept secrets in the area.
Well, I think we kind of fixed that.
Yeah.
Look, the reality of it is that, under normal, and I've crunched these numbers for our show we did a year and a half ago, and tracked them for like 30 years. Normally when gas starts climbing up, the other side of the mountain, real estate market starts dropping down. That is not happening. It is not going to happen on that end of it, because we now have options. The other option on top of the EV thing, over there, mostly they have some super fast internet. Not all of it is fiber, but they have some really good broadband going on over there. So, you probably don't have to travel over to the other side.
So we got a lot of folks now watching in Waynesboro here. Now this is from Jennifer, who's watching in Waynesboro. She says our homes are now trading for over $300,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We see what's happening on your side of the mountain, and it's starting to come to us. Fortunately, I'm a homeowner, our family is, but we're certainly concerned what this is going to do to our assessments and our taxes.
So it's going to go up. Right, it's that this rubber band. We've been talking about this forever, right? And our friend Quentin Beckham coined the term, fly till you qualify, because you're starting to see folks from Harrisonburg and from Buckingham to start coming into Charlottesville to work on that end of it. But look. You and I have been having conversations offline about some changes for Real Talk, and at some point, lack of inventory. We're talking about it all the time, and we're talking about the solution to it, and the solution to it is more inventory, right? To go ahead and kind of stabilize it. So to answer this, the Waynesboro question, well, if there was more affordable inventory on this side of the mountain, that would relieve some pressure from Waynesboro. That's not happening, right? It's just the red tape is just not allowing it to happen. The cost of land is not allowing it to happen. And there's some movement out there, and I know it for a fact, to develop on the other side of the mountain. They're getting pushed out that way. They don't prefer to do it, frankly. They'd rather do something closer to Charlottesville, but they just simply can't.
You may be selling some trucks on the show. People are asking about towing capacities for some of these trucks that you're talking about right now.
Hold on a second.
Hello and welcome, Justine, to the program. Get a truck sponsor.
Call Jim Price. Got it.
This is a good one.
But I believe the weight on those are pretty substantial.
With the electrics?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what folks are asking.
Yeah, the weight on that is pretty.
So it can tow. It can tow a boat in electric.
Oh, I know it. I know it. I can't speak to the Silverado. I know the Lightning
can tow a boat.
Can tow a boat.
Because you got one.
I've got one.
Okay, that's why you looked into it.
That's why I looked into it.
Okay.
Unless Yona makes me sell all my toys, and then I'll get a bolt.
Kevin says my assessment went up 16% in Waynesboro.
Yeah.
16%.
So in Waynesboro, I mean, it's gonna be all the jurisdictions, and it's a little too late. We highlighted this on the Tuesday show, if I remember correctly. The time to contest your taxes.
I think that may have passed, right?
It has. My point I was going to make is I'd reach out to my local Waynesboro city officials and ask for a little bit more time, right? Some of these the tax rebate or the tax relief or the real estate tax contestment time is only like a month, and most folks don't know about it. Right, so that's one of the great things that we're trying to do here on the show is get some of this information out. But for next year, guys, come around October, November, start reaching out to your local jurisdictions and saying, okay, when is my tax assessment coming out? Because I want to do that. And one of the things that Yona and I do and a lot of real estate agents do during that time period, we get a ton of phone calls. Hey, is my home really worth this? And we'll do a quick CMA for them and give it to them as ammunition to go back to the county and say, whoa, time out, or the city. You've valued my home way more than what the market value is. I need you to reduce it. And by and large, they'll do it for you.
Very good stuff. This is from Jackson. Jerry, please he called you the distinguished gentleman.
Oh, thank you.
Please remind the distinguished gentleman about the history of iconic buildings show that you guys discussed before he went on hiatus. He called it hiatus. Please.
Hiatus.
Yeah.
What's the thing? What's the term?
Jackson, great comment.
Judah, I'm going to need some help from you on this. What's the term when like a professor or somebody goes away for a while?
The leave of absence?
No.
Sabbatical. Yeah.
I prefer that term.
Sabbatical. He went on a 2-week sabbatical to recharge the electric vehicle, the electric that is Keith Smith.
Yeah, I'm getting Facebook messages from viewers on my watch.
So don't forget the icon.
I'm sharing. I spent the first week of the 2 weeks working on it.
Okay, good.
I've had meetings with UVA Historical Society folks. When we do this, it's not if, but when we do this, I want this to be off the charts good, because anything we do, we're going to do first class.
100%, always.
I also want to make sure my facts are right. I'm okay with having fun and winging it, but something like this,
my gosh, it's going to live forever.
Well, it's somewhat that, and I also don't want to do disrespect to the people that came before us by getting some of the historical facts incorrect. So I'm working on it, so please be patient. I'm a one marble guy doing a 2 marble job, so it takes a little bit of time. And my 1 marble I've got's a little rough on the edges. So please be patient. Thank you for sharing.
You should outline what the plan is.
Yeah, so we're formulating it, right, Jerry? So the plan...
Multiple people, Daniel McDougall, Christopher Eagle, Jennifer, sabbatical.
Yeah. Thank you, sabbatical. We should have best...
Love you, Christopher Eagle.
Yeah. Best dressed realtor in the United States, period, not even the area.
Dude, the viewers and listeners hold us on our P's and Q's.
Yep, and look, I'm excited. Christopher and I are actually going to be attending a boot camp for broker's licensing and stuff like that. So poor Christopher is going to be sitting in a room for me for 4 days straight.
I hope you have bourbon, Christopher.
8 hours.
I'm just joking. It's going to be to his benefit. He's going to learn a hell of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Well, the joke in the office is are you going to be able to keep your mouth shut? What do you think? How do you think that's going to go?
Wait, you or him?
Me.
Because he can.
Me.
So we're going to welcome our friend Justine Montgomery to the program.
Hey, Justine.
She says, I was back in Charlottesville, Albemarle last week, and I'm amazed by the changes that have taken place in such a short time. The amount of development is absolutely incredible. Where is she watching?
From Vermont. And
Vermont.
My question is, do you still have snow on the ground?
Do you still have snow on the ground in Vermont? Yancey says the Silverado has an 8K to 20K towing capacity depending on trim and EV motor size.
I'm in. My boat's 7,200 pounds. I'm good.
Christopher Eagle said 32 hours of broker's classes with Keith. And then he adds, ay mi madre. No, I added the ay mi madre. He said 32 hours. No. I added that.
He probably added something else.
No, he didn't. He just said 32 hours of broker's classes with Keith.
Maybe there's a bet there that, hey, can Smith keep his mouth shut for 4 straight days?
32 hours, good Lord.
We're going to be sitting in a room for 32 hours back to back to back.
So that's 4 days in a row?
4 days in a row.
Wow. More people are saying
sabbatical. I like that. Sabbatical.
The word of the year. All right, you need to highlight what you did, what the history of the buildings we're going to do.
So it happened live on the show, which is what I love. Which I love about this, and the viewers and the listeners were tossing in ideas. What we're going to do is we're going to start taking a look at some iconic buildings, iconic neighborhoods, and dissect them through a historical perspective. You know, with the lens of real estate, right? The one that comes to mind is Vinegar Hill, right? So we're going to take a deep dive into that. And part of what I'm trying to put together over this series, and it's going to be a multi-month series, is to bring in, experts from that, the history of some UVA structures. That's why I sat down and met with some of the UVA historical folks on that. What was the history on that and changed. And then some businesses like the H&M shoes that came on live. What was the history on that and the family history on it and where that's moving. The one that I'm most excited about taking a deep dive in, which is really our showcase for our area, is the downtown mall. A lot of people don't know how that actually started and how that went through. So
Mitch Van Eerie gets a lot of that credit.
That's true, but just think about. Say
hi to Maggie Gunnels.
Hey Maggie, thank you for the lot lead. We're working on it. Just think about what it took to shut down a main street in a town. Shut it down, turn it into the forward thinking. And the vision on that, and could we do that today? I don't know about that.
You're saying, do we have the political cohesion, capital to do that today?
When was that done? In the late 70s, mid 70s?
I can look that up.
Yeah, it was done in the mid 70s, somewhere along that. Look, the city at that time, and I'm just throwing numbers, and this is purely a guess, it's probably 50% of the amount of people that are in it at the moment, right? So that makes life a little bit easier at that particular, to go ahead and do that.
In 1976.
Look at that, mid-70s, that was close.
East Main Street was converted into a pedestrian mall designed by landscape architect Lawrence Halprin.
Yep.
In 2007, Charlottesville planned a comprehensive rehabilitation and renovation of the downtown mall. Construction of the mall renovation began on Sunday, January 7th, 2009, and was completed that summer. So 1976.
So I'm probably going to get myself in a little trouble to throw this.
I like when you do that.
Throw this out there, and I know how you feel about this, but man, where are the benches?
Yeah, where are the benches?
Right.
And where are the public bathrooms?
Well, yeah, you're right. There is an opportunity for a public bathroom up by the Ting Pavilion.
Oh,
right?
Those are locked.
I said opportunity.
Yeah.
I said opportunity. To go ahead and do that. Look, I spend a ton of time on the downtown mall. I know you do. A day like today, what is it, 65 degrees?
Beautiful.
Sunny, grab a cup of coffee. In today's world, most people, or some of us anyway, can do business on this iPhone I'm holding in there. And what a great... I'm getting text messages. I'm watching all this stuff. What a great opportunity to sit there on a bench, interact with locals, with people, send a few emails, send a few texts, make a phone call. But man, there's no seats. Where is there a place to sit? I don't know. There may be a reason for that.
Oh, we know there's a reason for that.
And I don't know what that reason is.
Well, the reason many of the benches were removed, and also
don't tell me because of the homeless.
The houseless individuals. Yeah, that's why.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And the benches were also converted from benches with backs to benches with no backs. And if you notice, a lot of the benches are narrow benches that are not long,
so
where folks can lay down and sleep on.
Yeah.
The benches have the bars in the middle that create individual seats, which prevent resting and sleeping on the benches. And that was done because of, motivated because of houseless folks on the mall. And that's all fact right there, what I just said.
I'm sure it is. A great thing to do is buy a cup of coffee, buy two, go sit next to somebody and offer them a cup of coffee and have a conversation. You know?
That's also why a lot of the public bathrooms are not being prioritized on the mall.
Yeah. Well.
And interestingly, a lot of people don't know this. The downtown mall, Judah knows this, downtown mall in Charlottesville is actually a designated public park.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's a public park, the downtown mall.
Sure. Well, they had to make it that designation in order to have the pedestrians on it and all that kind of great stuff. If I remember, my research on that's the reason I knew it was about mid-70s. The research that I've done on it, I remember reading that in some of it. Well, man, it's a treasure. The point I'm trying to get at is in the 70s, somebody was forward thinking to do that.
Mitch Van Eers, the mayor at the time, was one of the stakeholders in that transition. Interestingly,
I believe it was the first one in the country, if not the first or the second one. But
there's very few pedestrian downtown malls left. Another one is in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Uh-huh. If anybody has an opportunity to
what
visit,
do you mean by left? I mean they're shutting them down.
Yeah.
And why is that?
I mean, because it's such a car-centric world. Look at one of the debates that's happening around the mall. To add parking or to not add parking. To add a parking garage or to not add a parking garage.
Yeah, and I get all that, and I guess sometimes as a New Yorker, I just think about it differently. So when I go to the downtown mall, I always find parking. I just got to walk a couple of blocks to get there.
I say this all the time to the folks that, tenants that rent in this building. Like, where am I going to park? I have worked downtown for
long time.
14 years.
Yeah, sure.
In 14 years, I've never paid for parking.
Yeah.
I've never.
Maybe the parking tickets.
I get parking tickets. I get maybe 6 parking tickets a year.
Yeah.
Maybe 8.
And if you do the math, you're doing better than paying.
8 parking tickets a year is $160.
Yeah, sure.
A monthly parking garage pass is $130.
So what happens is it becomes a convenience thing.
I've never had a parking pass.
And
have you ever paid for parking in downtown Charlottesville? How long have you worked in downtown Charlottesville? A decade? 9 years?
So he's pointing to the director, our friend.
Judah.
Judah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You've never paid, right? I've never paid.
It's a time thing, and I pay all the time because I'm
You're usually running late.
I'm usually running
late.
late.
We'll speak to the truth there. Is that fair?
I'm usually running late, but tell them why I'm running late.
Well, because you're a busy man.
I'm a busy man, and I'm on the phone.
You do a lot of stuff. Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of stuff, doing a lot of work. Today I just came from a car communication board meeting to come over here.
And oftentimes you sweet talk your way out of the party.
I did that yesterday.
I have no doubt you did.
I did that Tuesday.
Dude, I walk by the Market Street garage. Who's the kind lady that works there?
Oh, she was one of the top 12. Oh, I can't remember her name.
She's amazing.
I think it's Phyllis, but I may have it wrong. But she is.
She routinely goes, "Hey, Jerry, how's Keith doing? How's Keith doing?"
Yeah, you're going to get me.
She loves you.
Yeah. Well,
she's amazing. She's great.
But all you have to do is be kind to people. And
I love her energy.
Her energy is awesome.
She watches the show.
Yeah, I kind of happened to leave my wallet at home on
Tuesday.
Remember. No, I didn't tell you about this.
You did it again?
I did it again, yeah.
Well, you get the first hour free.
Yes, so
you get here, well, obviously the show runs over an hour.
Yeah, so this was actually Wednesday when I had to sneak out to go to another board meeting, and I was under the hour. I had my wallet in my running bag, which I left at the office, and I was like, oh man, I left my wallet home. So she was out walking around in the parking area. I said, "Hey, honey, how you doing? How's things going? Blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, I left my wallet home." She goes, "Well, okay, no problem." And I hand her the ticket. She goes, "Dude, you're free. Get out of here."
Yeah, first hour's free.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, first hour's free.
Yeah. But the reason I do it all the time is, one is I like to talk to her. We always have a great conversation. To me, it's well worth the $2 or the $3 just to have a conversation.
What is it now
her.
an hour? Is it $2 an hour or is it $180 an hour?
Yeah, I think
it might be bumped to $2.
I don't know. I pay about $2 every show.
Okay.
I think so. Anyway, I can't remember.
Okay. Is it not prorated the hour?
No. So what happens is, if you go over an hour, which we regularly do.
You usually get here at, say, you usually park in that garage at what, 9:50, 9:55?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, call 10 for the sake of conversation.
At this case, 10:10. But
so you go 10 to noon. I guess that's the $2.
As soon as you go over the hour, it's $2.
Is it? It's not prorated?
As soon as you go over the hour, it's $2.
Really?
As soon as you go
Even
over the hour.
if it's 5 minutes?
The only reason I know this is my boss, Mrs. Smith, and my CPA said, "Man, you spend a lot of money in parking." And I said, "Well, I da-da-da-da-da-da-da." She goes, "Okay, well, we're going to need to move that money from this account to that account so you can write it off of the show expenses." So, not that anybody needs to know that, but that's what it's at. Yeah, but to go back to the parking thing is, I'm usually busy doing something else. I got a short window to get here, and it's automatic. Parking is automatic.
Yeah,
but if I took an extra 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I'd find a parking space probably somewhere over by. There's always spaces over by Friendship Court, which by the way, shout out to PHA. If you have an opportunity to walk around there, they're starting their development on it. It's a pretty neat project. I got an eyeball on it the other day.
Give them a snapshot. Friendship Court is going to become a mixed-use development.
Yeah, so somebody Google it. It's a mixed-use development, mixed income.
Mixed income, yeah.
Sunshine and the folks over at PHA has done a great job of it. They're actually building units first, which then they will start moving. Or the folks that are currently living there will have an opportunity to move over there. Then they'll start demolishing buildings. But this is a long-term project that actually won national awards on the end of it. It's pretty cool. Keep an eye on it. All that equipment that's moving around over by Friendship Court is what that's doing. But you can always find parking somewhere over by where Ferguson's is, where Friendship Court. It's just walking 2 blocks. That's all.
Lee Elberson says Charlottesville is 7.4. So he says, I read an article yesterday talking about the most expensive places to live in Seaville. Live in the country. Most expensive places to live in the country. San Francisco atop the list with a median housing salary ratio of 8. Want to guess what Charlottesville's ratio is right now? 7.4.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. You've been talking about this forever. Is this becoming, the new Silicon Valley, San Francisco kind of setup
of the East Coast? And wait till the data science school opens. I can't emphasize that enough. Wait till a state-of-the-art data science school that is going to be of world-class caliber opens in this town, and the influence and impact it's going to have.
Don't disagree with that, but you already have existing businesses in here, hundreds of them. Hey, a little shout out to Allison Rabel.
Rabel, Daily Progress.
Yeah. Again, to stay back.
Rhymes like table. Rabel.
Rabel. Thank you. She wrote an article on March 16th that I just wanted to highlight real quick, and if somebody can tag her, I just want to give her a little bit of kudos.
I will tag her right now.
Yeah, so this Savannah County water project is moving along, so if you have an opportunity to take a look at that, not to geek out about it too much, but this has been 30 years in the making to bring water from the James River with a partnership between Savannah County and Louisa County, and it got held up a little bit because, to be absolutely frank with it, somebody didn't do the historical research, and the intake ended up being on some indigenous people's grave sites. So the good news is her article basically outlines everybody's agreed to move the intake to a different location. So, probably 18 to 24 months, you're going to start seeing a substantial amount of water in Zion's Crossroads. We've been talking about where the next hotspot's going to be. Once this water once this actually starts construction of this new intake, down there, you're going to start seeing the Zion Crossroads, which it is already, starting to really explode. And folks like our dear friend John Ornalis, his business is just going to go
Johnny
off.
Ornalis, El Mariachi,
Mm-hmm.
fantastic owner, fantastic restaurant.
So I wanted to give her a shout out. Not too many people are covering that, and she is. This is a big thing for those two counties in our region.
I just tagged her on the feed. Jason Howard, hello, welcome to the program. This is a good comment. This is something we should cover. Jerry, you alluded in previous shows and on previous posts that the downtown mall could evolve into a business improvement district, a BID. Please talk about that and highlight the pros and cons of a BID for the downtown mall in Charlottesville. Do you know much about business improvement districts?
I do not. I'm going to get a lesson here.
So, business improvement districts are organizations formed by private property owners and businesses with a legally constituted city district. Members pay a special tax to cover the expense of providing their BID with services beyond what the local government offers in the area.
Is that allowable in the state of Virginia?
Yep,
Okay.
allowable in the state of Virginia. So a BID, a business improvement district, and I'm curious, genuine curiosity here, I would encourage everyone to check out Friends of Seville, is it .org? Yeah, friendsofseville.org, and look at the heavy hitters that are a part of friendsofseville.org. Some of those heavy hitters are Charlie Lewis, huge property owner of the downtown mall, Hunter Craig, Ludwig Kutner, Joan Fenton, a huge property owner of the downtown mall, as is Ludwig and Hunter, Chris Henry, Keith Woodard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking heavy hitters here.
Yeah, influential business folks.
Influential property owners and business folks. So they're forming.
So let's talk about this for a second. So if it's on the books at the state level, you know, we don't have any issues with the Dillon rule, right? So that means, you know, again, I'm just shooting from the hip here. Then that means the local jurisdiction in this case, which is the city council, they have the rights to do this. It's an interesting concept because what the taxes from sales, where is the revenue coming, the incremental revenue coming in from this for the jurisdiction?
The business improvement district,
Yeah,
is paid by private citizens. So if there's
but you mentioned tax. That's the reason I brought it up.
So if there's here, I'll read to you again. A defined area within which businesses are required to pay an additional tax or levy in order to fund projects within the business improvement district boundaries. So if there's a bid on the downtown mall.
So it's a property tax?
No, so if there's a business improvement district on the downtown mall, I Love Seville would pull money out of its coffers, and I would gladly do this.
Sure.
Gladly do this.
Sure.
Pull money out of our coffers, our business coffer, our business account,
I understand that.
and pay an extra fee on top of the taxes we're already paying the city to the business improvement district for endeavors that the business improvement district is championing.
So my question I'm asking, is it a property tax or is it's just a straight up business?
It's a straight up. It's
based on volume.
I don't even think it's based on volume. I think it's a flat fee that the businesses
then it's not a tax; it's a fee.
It's a levy.
Got it.
Yeah, it's a levy that the BID, the Business Improvement District leaders, would say, you're a part of this district. We would like this from you, and it's going to go to these things.
Yeah. So
I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So more than likely, I mean, I'm shooting totally from the hip, but just a little bit from knowledge on how this works at the local jurisdiction. It has to be tied to some sort of revenue. It has to be tied to some sort of value, how they can establish. My suspicion is on that end of it. But I'll dig into the state code on that. It's pretty. If there's a state code for it, it's pretty clear how it needs to get put together.
So these districts typically fund services which are perceived by some businesses as being inadequately performed by government with its existing tax revenues, such as cleaning streets, providing security,
like a CIP
making capital improvements, construction of pedestrian and streetscape enhancements, and marketing the area. The services provided by bids are supplemental to those already provided by the municipality.
Got it.
The revenue derives from a tax assessment on commercial property owners, and in some cases, residential property owners.
Yeah, got it. So it's as I said earlier, it's tied to some sort of tax assessment. So this building where you're in this business on it, it's an additional tax assessment to the property owners in that.
The bid also has fees provided by business owners that do not own their properties that rent from landlords.
Roger, got it. Yeah. Cool.
So guys, follow a bid in the downtown mall and Friends of Seville and the true potential. I would do that in a heartbeat.
I think there's a show here,
Yeah.
because my suspicion of the way it'll work is the city will come up with some sort of special CIP for this zone, right? Capital improvement. This is what we want, and then through real estate taxes or fees or however the structure is going to be, they create that. The question I would have as a taxpayer or fee payer on that: what impact do I have on how that's being spent?
Well,
right?
That's a good question. That's
Right.
a very good question.
Right. So, if that I would suspect what'll happen is they'll create some sort of working group of business owners in that help.
I think that's where Friends of Seville is going.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, I had, I profess to know a
what's
little
happening.
bit about this stuff. I've never heard anything about
That's the group that
no, that the group-
$40,000 for the wrap of the Dewberry.
Yeah.
$10,000 contributed
Yeah.
by Johnny Dewberry. The remaining $30K from Friends of Seville.
The group I know well, I follow them, but this bid concept, which is really interesting because, then you can tie this bid concept into your, what's the DOR, what's the beer garden concept, what's the acronym for that?
DORA, Designated
DORA.
Outdoor Refreshment Area.
Yeah, so you can tie the two together on that end of it and just come up with this incremental income on that end of it, which you've been talking about forever.
Oh my gosh.
On that
That's a
on that
freaking
end.
no-brainer. I mean, good Lord. And you know what? This is something that I've talked about. You know what finally is going to motivate council to do that? Albemarle County doing it first.
Oh yeah, sure.
And then when Albemarle County does it first, they're going to be like, you know what's going to happen?
But that goes both ways. It's always been that way.
And
So-
Albemarle County's going to beat them to it.
Oh, of course, yeah. And well, Albemarle County, in certain respects, have been a little bit ahead of the curve on some of the
Certainly
stuff.
compared to Charlottesville.
But on the flip side on that is this missing middle. I think the city is going to be ahead of Albemarle County, but Albemarle County is running it concurrently. But this is a normal thing. I mean, we've had this conversation with Jesse Rutherford all the time. Jesse Rutherford in Nelson County 10, 12 years ago was in front of this broadband, right? And I mean, I've sat in planning district commission meetings where, Greene County, Louisa County is like, Jesse, tell me how you did this, right? And not how that works. And that's really great about being part of these organizations where all these jurisdictions are starting to talk to everybody. I got a topic for next Wednesday
Please.
for Scott. So I've got a notice from the Wall Street Journal I get every morning. It looks like some of the reporting, the Equifax, TransUnion, Experian are going to start dropping most of the medical debts. That's going to be, and I want to talk to him about that, what that impact's going to be. Just a cursory reading on this morning, that's going to be pretty impactful because.
So he's talking what he's talking about is the outlets that determine credit scores will not hold individuals potentially accountable for past debt associated, or poor line items on a credit score associated with medical debt.
So what it really...
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it gets even more in depth than that, and most folks probably don't know this, right? This is not current debt. This is debt that's getting paid off, that stays on your credit report for 7 years. And this is the federal government's getting involved in this and saying to these reporting agencies, no. If it's paid off, it comes off. So what'll happen is you can pay off all your medical debt. Same thing with bankruptcy, by the way. You can pay off all your medical debt, but it stays on there for 7 years. And you're in year 5, and all of a sudden you're saying, why is my credit score so low? And you'll find out when you take a look at it, they're still reporting that medical debt. And if you read the article closely, particularly with COVID, some medical debts are starting to come up. So I'm really anxious to hear what Scott has to say about that on Saturday and Wednesday, on what impact that might have. Because if they can start adjusting credit scores a little bit, that could loosen up the market a little bit as far as, helping buyers, right? If they can get a little stronger on their financing options on it. So I thought that was interesting.
I think that's fantastic. I think it's absolutely. Do you have any comments on the DORA, the designated outdoor refreshment area?
Yeah. Why aren't we doing it?
Your personal comments are?
Why aren't we doing it?
It's no brainer, right?
Yeah. It's
especially for a jurisdiction that is like strapped.
Yeah. So look, I've been involved in local government for 35 years. I will tell you, from being involved in the last 35 years, the last 2 to 3 years, you're starting to see things loosen up a little bit more along this. And what do I mean by that? Historically, jurisdictions are afraid to try something new, right? Because they just don't know what it's going to happen. They don't know what liability it's going to take. It's just the way they are. They don't think like you and I do, like entrepreneurials, right? Hey, I'm willing to take a risk. Let's do this. If it doesn't work,
just don't do it if it doesn't work.
Well, if it doesn't work, then you say, okay, we tried it and we
and
moved
it didn't
on.
work.
Historically, local governments don't like to do that, right? They're not in that kind of business. I will tell you, and maybe this has a lot to do with us being in the room, with me being in the room over years, I'm starting to see that change. I'm starting to see this change where they're really saying, okay, missing middle matters, right? Density matters. Incremental income matters, right? We have to start changing our business thinking on it. So maybe I'm a bit Pollyannic on it, but I'm starting to see this change.
I don't think you're Pollyannic on it.
I just thought that was a cool word.
Did he use that word correctly?
He's working. He's working. He's trying to keep these pictures and microphones going. Pollyannic would be the right thing, like pie in the sky kind of thing. But it's really right.
What's that, Judah?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
That Smith's making up words. Is that what you're saying?
All right, go. Keep going.
Yeah. I've always defended our local jurisdiction folks, our local elected officials. I know how difficult it is to do that job, and it's thankless. But they're starting to listen. They're starting to, I think, realize things need to change. Because if they don't, we're not going to be what was it, 7.4? We're probably going to be over 8. Density and increase of inventory is going to change that 7.4 number. Thank you, Maureen.
Do you think there needs to be rent control in the city?
Oh man, I'm not going down that road.
These folks are asking.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope. I'd have to do a lot of research on rent control. I only can speak to it from when I grew up around it in there, and it just didn't work. But I think we're bolstering the Section 8, bolstering the rental assistance programs, in my opinion, and this is just off the cuff, would be a better use of funds than rent control.
It's a very slippery slope.
It's a very slippery slope. I'm not so sure, even in the state of Virginia, since we're a property rights state, it's even possible. I may be wrong on that end of it. I just know about it from when I grew up as a kid in the city. On that end of it, I think it's better for organizations like what we did with the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission. We gave out over $2 million worth of rental assistance to that. To me, that's a better path of use of funds, but that's way outside of my pay grade.
How about because I'm going to be talking about this on the I Love Seville show.
Sure. Great interview, by the way, with the coach.
Thank you very much. Brian O'Connor is a rock star. So I highlighted what I think is a travesty, and you will see more of this on the I Love Seville network. The Charlottesville, Virginia Police Department has 117 total sworn positions.
We're missing how many?
Currently, there are 28 vacancies,
Yeah.
including the police chief.
Yep.
89 positions are filled.
Yep.
That's a 24% vacancy rate. This is really concerning. That was very concerning. 3 of 89 active police officers on the Charlottesville Police Force, 3 of 89 are homeowners. 5 of 89 active police officers are renting a home. That means 8 of 89 active police officers can afford to live in the city. I find that to be, I've said so many times on the show, I'm pro-police.
Well, I'm going to
Pro-fire department, pro-teachers, pro-nurses, pro-EMTs.
I'm going to set you up with meetings with the city FD chief and the Albemarle County FD chief, because these numbers, I don't know for that, but they're probably very similar.
Undoubtedly similar.
Very similar.
We got the Police Foundation, Charlottesville Police Foundation in the works for potentially next week on the I Love Seville show to talk about this.
This is kind of personal to me.
Oh, I know it is. You're a family of firefighters.
So I grew up in the neighborhood, in a building in the city that your dad, and back in the 60s and 70s, they were dads, right? They didn't have so many female police officers or firemen. But your dad was either a New York City cop, a New York City fireman, a New York City sanitation, or a teacher. Which that was more mixed gender at that particular time. But you were in that was the building you were in. That was it. And I grew up around that my whole life until I was 18, 19 years old. And I talk about this all the time. Until I joined the Marine Corps, I thought everybody's parents was a cop or a fireman. I didn't realize there was other jobs out there. And I come from that background, and we need to take care of these folks. We need to take care of. This is the reason why I put so much time and energy into the land trust. I can tell you over the last 8 homes that we've sold and closed, and by the way, in 6 months on that, we were ranging between 50 to 60% area median income. That's an important number to get out there. We can't exceed 80, but we're actually hitting 50 to 60% AMI, and they are by and far teachers. There's one fireman in there. So one of the ways around this is for the jurisdictions to give these PBAs, to give the firemen associations more capital for down payment assistance, right? And this is not difficult. It's just a matter of money. And it's a matter of somebody having the intestinal fortitude to say these folks are important to us and these folks are important to keep us close to our community here. Look, back in the day where I grew up, the cop and the fireman all lived in the neighborhood that they worked in. That's how this was, right? And this is a very different time, right? This is the 60s and the 70s. And I remember as a kid playing in the street and doing things I probably shouldn't have done, right? You knew who I wanted the cops to grab me and the begging to them was, please don't tell my father, right? Please don't tell my father. Actually, please don't tell my mother on that end of it. But they knew that they'd grab you and they'd bring you to your mother or your father and say, just want to let you know your son was, grabbed a bazooka bubble gum and didn't pay for it. And then the cop, your parents would drag you down to the candy store, make you pay for the thing and say you're sorry to the candy store owner, and that was it. But there's a value to having these folks in the neighborhoods that they police. Did I just go on a rant?
Let me ask you a question. When did it get to be so socially accepted to ostracize or to offer negative commentary or to chastise, patronize, antagonize police officers? The same small, loud, organized, and far from the majority group in the city that is screaming, defund the police, is the one behind tax, or wealth distribution.
The problem is it's like any organization.
Massive zoning changes, same group.
Yeah. So the problem always is, and I remember as a kid growing up, you always had the bad cop. You always had, there was always these bad apples in the end of it. So it's how the organization did it. great movie, Serpico, right? It's the neighborhood I grew up in. It was real, right? If anybody has an opportunity, watch the movie Serpico, right?
But we can say that we 100% acknowledge there can be bad apples on a police force. But they're bad apples in real estate and realtors. They're bad apples in advertising. They're bad apples in everything.
There's no bad apples in what Judah does, though. Because there's only one Judah.
There's bad apples in everything.
Sure. Look, it's just a whole different world, man. It's I'm choosing my words carefully.
I know you are.
Carefully here.
It's unfortunate we have to.
Well,
because I know what you feel. I know what you feel.
Yeah. And it's
and I know what you want to say.
Yeah, it's very hard for me because I grew up with people that their fathers, police officers, their firemen, didn't come home.
That's what I'm saying.
And unless you are, Jody Mills is a prime example. Jody Mills' father was a DC fireman.
We love Jody Mills. We love you, Jody Mills.
Unless you as a child grew up with that, and it was always a thing that you kissed your father goodbye, and probably, there's a likelihood he wasn't coming home.
Yeah.
Right? And that for 18 years of your life, 20 years of your life, is impactful.
No doubt.
Where I was going to go...
Talk show hosts and branding experts and realtors do not have that in our profession.
We do not have that in our profession. I will tell you, though, safety is a big point in the real estate business. You'll be surprised.
Not like police.
Not like police, not like firemen.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to get too emotional about this because this touches home, right? As you know, I've lost 40 friends on 9/11.
Yeah.
Right. We brought in a rock star of two people, my father and Mr. Constantino, Chief Constantino was there, and it's just, this is a very personal thing for me. I was trying to twist the conversation around a little bit of what's happening in Ukraine, and I know this is a subject that is not real estate related.
Well, it's real estate life in the pursuit of happiness.
Life.
Yeah.
Those who don't know, I spent the first half of the 80s behind the Iron Curtain. Actually, we called it Kiev, not Kyiv, but I was in Kiev, I was in the Soviet Union, I was in Bulgaria, I was there doing what I did for the United States Marine Corps and the U.S. embassies for the end of it, and I'm watching that, and I lived with these people, and this is breaking my heart. It's breaking my heart because they're so awesome. All you got to do is see how they're resisting. It's unbelievable. So anyway, when you start talking about the police department and the fire department, it makes me think about what I did back then, and I get a little emotional about it, so I apologize if I'm going sideways on it. But, let's be kind to the people that are protecting us and serving us.
Seriously.
Right? And
seriously.
Look, if there's a bad apple, then there's a bad apple. And you should, right? You should, unlike Russia, you should be able to voice your opinion. This is why I wear hearing aids. This is why I got blown up. This is why I'm a disabled vet, for those who don't know that, is to... Go ahead, this is the opportunity.
No, please, keep going. I'm not even going to interrupt you here.
Yeah, no,
you're on point.
I thought you were going to give me a joke about my disabled vet. On that end of it is, and I did that for the ability for people to do that. So I encourage that. I want that. I want to support people to do that. I've done it. I've bled for it on that end of it. But be a little kind in the process.
Do you even understand?
I understand a lot.
You understand everything, I know, but I was
not everything.
General terms.
I don't understand. I didn't understand. What is it? What is? I wrote it down.
When did it become? And I'm gonna talk about this, but I respect your opinion. Okay. When did it become the cool thing to do to hate on the police that serve our community?
Brother, that was cool in the 60s and the 70s. right? I remember my father going to fire thing and people throwing bricks at him.
At firemen
Yeah,
and women?
Yeah, shooting them.
You know what? Well, we're going to change that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We're gonna, at least in this community, we will.
Yeah, yeah.
We understand the reach and the influence here.
Yeah.
It should be cool to now stand up and speak your mind and support
So
the
let's
police.
talk about a way that we can change that. This is a real estate show. And this is why I went on this little diatribe about, did I use that right?
You did use that one, right?
Right, did I use
that was
that
good.
right?
That was good.
There you go.
I mean, I think it's diatribe. Go, there you go.
Tribe, look at that, huh?
Go ahead. Finish your diatribe.
Studying the dictionary's paying off.
I love it. Finish your thought.
That's why I went on this comment about let's raise some money to keep the police officers living in the communities they serve.
Yeah.
So the problem is they're in my opinion, they should be within the communities that they serve.
100%.
So there's interaction. So there is, your cop on the beat. Your cop in your sector, right? You get to know them. You get to understand them and say, okay, look, he's not really a bad person on that end of it. Look, there's been a lot of, one-sided action. Now, let's face it, of people of color, right? But how do you fix that? And how do you fix that is you put people together and have a conversation. In my opinion, if you raise money, offer the police officers, offer the firemen to come in there. Personally, what I would do is I'd raise the money to do that and require them to live in the jurisdiction. It used to be like that in the New York City Police Department and Fire Department. You needed to live in the area you were at because you didn't have the vehicle system that we have here, that you needed to get to the fire station or get to the police station within a certain amount of time.
This comment from Katie Cunningham Rodriguez on our Instagram.
That's just an outstanding name.
Follow the I Love Seville Instagram, third largest reach in the community. UVA 1, City of Charlottesville 2, I Love Seville 3. She says this: my husband is retired New York Police Department. His starting salary in 2004. You want to take a guess what his starting salary was in 2004?
Probably about $30,000.
$23,000.
Yeah, that's close.
I think starting salary is still less than $30K these days.
Yeah, it's around 40. I got a friend of the family just went on the job, so
starting salary.
It's around $40,000.
New York Police Department is $40,000. Think about that.
Yeah, but that's in New York City, so
yeah, freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, totally.
So much about what is happening in Charlottesville reminds me of the mistakes New York made, the city made. I told him he should call his former co-workers who want out of New York. At least down here, it's less dangerous.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting. So the city is making us city. So when I say the city, this is New York, folks, and it's making a swing. I'm sorry to say this, kind of back to where it was in the '60s and the '70s. The safety factor isn't quite there as it used to be. But on the flip side of it, I was having this conversation on the beach in St. Martin with a couple of New Yorkers as I was handing out business cards on that end of it. And there's a level of coolness and edge that was there in the 60s and the 70s that was pretty cool, right? It was pretty cool to go see the Ramones play, right? There's really pretty cool to it was this edgy, cool thing. And then it became something else. I'm probably gonna get myself into trouble, but became this hipster thing that, if you weren't drinking the right cup of coffee, you weren't cool. But, it was a whole different world, man. It was about survival and, walking from my apartment to school. And it was just trying to make it there in one piece and make it home. And it just built this whole different mindset. You can go to a Caribbean island, which we did in January, and there's riots on the island. And you're trying to get from one end of it to the other end of it. Hey, man, I've been there. I've done this. We can do this. And you just get through it, and you just adapt it. But sounds like I'm either babbling a little too much or getting myself into trouble.
No, I don't think either. I think,
if we can get the police department let's get off of cops and firemen. What about the freaking teachers?
What about the teachers? What about the nurses?
The nurses are our new heroes, or our new frontline thing. Where the cops and the firemen were after 9/11 during COVID, it was the nurses. These folks are working gazillion hours a day, understaffed, underpaid. And got to travel 45 minutes to an hour to get to work.
I'm gonna cut to the chase. I understand the responsibility. The responsibility that comes with a following on all these social platforms as large as ours.
That was so, Jerry, that was so evident to me. I was in a foreign country. I was literally in a foreign country. We're very personable people. We love to talk to people. And we were talking to people down there from all over the United States, all over the world, particularly in the United States. I said, yeah, what do you do? I said, yeah, da, 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 da. And I do this little thing on I Love Charlottesville Network. 2 or 3 people said, yeah, I've seen that. I'm getting chills talking about it. The responsibility now was like awesome to me, that we've got to get this right. This is the reason why I want to take the time on this historical thing, because this has kind of become the paper or the digital footprint of record.
Dude, I Love Seville last year reached over 253,000 unique IP addresses within 60 miles of Charlottesville.
Sure.
I want people to think about that.
That's not even including the people that are watching.
That doesn't include the Commonwealth. That doesn't include the country. That doesn't include the world. It's 253,000 plus unique IP addresses within 60 miles of Charlottesville, backed by analytics.
Sure.
I get the responsibility that comes with the reach of that significance.
3 years ago, I would have never realized that.
I am willing, and I know you are too, to take the personal jabs or hits that come with making comments.
It's hard.
Stand up for the police, be pro-police,
it's hard.
Get officers more pay, get them more.
Doesn't it hurt?
But I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with it.
Hurts.
I'm willing.
It hurts. But you got to have thick skin, right?
You have thick skin, and you got to know you're doing things the right way.
Yeah. So I come from a different background than you do, a different environment than you do, different upbringing than you did. But I've spent 6 years with, let's face it, the Soviets, the Russians that are trying to kill everybody in the Ukraine, had me in their sights every day. 24/7, 365 days a year. So anything that's going over there is not surprising to me, because I've seen their ability, seen their capability to do that. And I have some great Russian friends, right? But I mean, do I have time to tell a short story?
Please.
So
then we'll close.
And it's a little bit of a downer, and we'll like to end on a high, if you don't mind.
Sure.
But none of this surprises me. And one of the differences that we have now is what I'm holding in my hand is this phone, right? True story, 1985, I'm in Sofia, Bulgaria at the particular time. So one of the things that we used to do was we used to hang out with the spooks, the CIA, right? And satellites are not what they are today. Excuse me, back then were not what they are today, where they could probably count the hair on, okay, I'm losing hair, counting the hair on your head. On that end of it. So one of the things they used to do is they used to go out and clandestine take pictures. So our job was to watch their six, watch their back, right? And we would go out with the spooks and all that stuff. So that set the story up a little bit on that. So the Soviets decided everybody in the Soviet Union needed to have Slavic last names. So, Judah, if you pay attention to this a little bit, because you're a historical buff, if you know anything about history, I'm sorry, buddy. I apologize.
Would you characterize yourself as a historical buff?
You understand history, right? So in that part of the world, at one point, it was part of the Ottoman Empire. So that means there was a lot of Turk influence, a lot of Turkish influence, a lot of Turkish last names. So they required these Turkish families to change their names from Arabic, from Turkish names to Slavic names. They resisted. We went and took pictures. And I'm sorry, I get chills talking about this. Killed every woman, child, dog, goat, burned the houses down, and did that. And all they had to resist with was pitchforks, and they did it. And we took pictures of that. it's a thing in my life. I get chills. I don't talk about it very much. I just did it in front of the whole world on that end of it. But this is what's going on is not surprising to me at all. You can't apply Western thinking to Eastern mentality. The people that are running this have been in the KGB. They've been their respect for life isn't the same as what ours is on that end of it. Don't know why I went down that road.
I appreciate it.
At the end of it, I think to wrap it back around is let's be kind to one another. If anything over there, let's be honest with each other. Let's try to get our police officers in town.
I mean, gosh, good night. I will continue to do this. Keith Smith.
I'm sorry I did that,
No,
guys.
dude, what? Don't apologize.
Yeah,
it's what makes the show. Do not apologize for that.
Yeah,
Makes the show great. Vulnerability. Vulnerability makes programs like this great.
Yeah, I don't. Up until today, I probably only told 6 people that story, maybe 8 people.
Well,
I just told 253,000.
I respect your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts.
Yeah. Back how we started it. I'll try to end it on a high. What a freaking awesome day! Go out and enjoy it. Watch the I Love Charlottesville Network at 12:30 first for an hour or an hour and a half, however long you're going to go. Get out and enjoy it. What do you plan on doing this weekend with the family?
Son's birthday.
Oh,
this weekend.
4.
Turning 4.
Outstanding.
We're gonna celebrate the best thing that's ever happened to my wife and I.
Anything you can tell, or he's watching in my
cake, jump and bounce houses.
I got to tell you, man.
Putt, revelry.
We spent a week with our 1-year-old granddaughter, and our 3-year-old.
I love that kid.
And I got to tell you, what a lot of fun. There's some value of being a grandfather, by the way.
Yeah, you give him back.
You give him back.
You got to give him back.
You give him back. But
absolutely.
The thing I miss about the last 2 weeks away was not fun stuff, was just hanging with them for a week, man. I totally am missing that. So much so, we're thinking about taking a ride up there this weekend just to go see them.
Very nice. Wow.
Beautiful weekend, taking a ride up there, go see them, go hug on them again. There's nothing like a 1-year-old going, GG, Poppy, and there's just no better feeling in the world than that.
Keith Smith, Judah Wickower, Jerry Miller, you see what the show is all about. Real Talk presented by Yes Realty Partners. We love Yes Realty Partners. Find them online at yesrealtypartners.com. Judah Wickower, thank you. Keith Smith, thank you. This is Real Talk on a Friday, and we're back on Real Talk on Monday at 10:15. And, of course, the I Love CVille show is up in 37 minutes, guys. Thank you kindly for joining us. Take care. Well done.
Yeah, let's be kind to one another out there.
Bravo. Very bravo.